Good morning. Well, it's morning here, late morning, because I had a late start. But I felt the need to come on randomly today. Basically have you join me for a cup of coffee and discuss some things that I think are so important, because really this whole thing that's going on around this country right now is so wrong. And affects me deeply, because it actually gets to the point where the ignorance that I'm seeing, the ignorance that is happening around us and how people are behaving is not going to bring about any change. It's just going to cause anger and fear and more destruction. And it is so wrong. So I jumped on because I'd like to talk about this right now. And I'd like to give everybody an opportunity to talk about this. You know, the past couple of days I've been watching the news and I was like, oh my God. And I listened to, you know, there was a protest and a rally in Minnesota and it was one of violence. And I listened to what this woman was saying and how they were behaving. And all I could think of as I listened to this, I was so upset over how they were speaking. You know, they said, you know what, Target burned down, good, let it burn down, because they should be on the street next to us. They should be on the street. You know, you not only took somebody's livelihood away, you destroyed property. How do you expect to be treated with respect and not give respect? Energy matches energy, okay? And the only people that are able to change this way of thinking and this way of being is us. Because honestly, you know what? After I heard that speech yesterday, I was so upset. And I go, did they forget who Martin Luther King was? Did they forget how he marched and how he protested and how he called everybody brothers? Whether you were white, whether you were black, it didn't matter what race you were. We're all connected. We're all brothers. We're all in this together. So I sat there, and after listening to that, I went and I listened to him speak. And I'm like, why is it that they're forgetting this? How can they forget this? And then I saw a precious white woman who, or a precious black woman who posted online, all blacks are not criminals, all cops are not bad. I mean, she was listing the truth. You cannot crucify, and I'm using the word crucify, everyone based on the actions of four. So guess what? Those police officers who caused this great injustice, who took a life, should all be brought to justice and be held accountable. Okay? And in the way that it's supposed to be done, because I have so many of my friends, black and white and Asian, all different races, all different colors, that are police officers, that are in the military, that sit there and they protect us, period. Whether you're white or you're black, they do protect us. The majority of them, you call, they're there. And let me tell you something, it's just not black people who are brutalized. There are white people that go through the same thing. There are Asians that go through the same thing. It's widespread, you know, and I understand why this is happening, but it is so wrong. So honestly, I wanted to come on and talk about this because when I see this, it hurts me. Okay, because guess what? We are in 2020. All right. We had yesterday, and I watched it, we have people in space right now. They were launched. They are at the space station. They are beginning the process. They're going to be doing spacewalks this month. They're going to be going back to the moon. They're trying to give people something amazing to look forward to. I mean, this is advancing again now. Finally, we're moving forward again. And at the same time, when we should have all been as a nation watching the launch, we have people burning down cities, burning down businesses. There was a poor man who was just trying to defend his business, didn't bother anybody. He was in front of his store in Dallas, I think it was trying to defend his business, and he got beaten to death by rioters, by looters. Violence begets violence. Where are any of these people going to get? Because guess what? If you have a whole bunch of people that are out burning down a national historic courthouse in Tennessee, in Nashville, is everyone crazy? That's a piece of our history. You know, and history speaks of the good and of the bad. It is so important, and these people are going out thinking that this is going to solve problems. No, all this is going to do is put you in a position where people look at you like you're behaving like animals. You're destroying businesses. You're burning down buildings. You're burning and blowing up cars. You know, all these cops, I absolutely adored it. I sat there and looked at something online today, and these cops in Miami took a knee in front of the protesters because it wasn't this. They know what happened was wrong, and they would never behave that way. Do not hold everybody accountable for what those few did together, because you have to understand these. You have white people and black people that are standing together, that are speaking out against the injustice and the travesty has been done. There is a way to do this, and to do this properly, but to set our entire nation on fire during one of the worst times we've had in a long time with what's going on with this coronavirus is not the way to go, and it's wrong. So how do you figure things are going to get solved if you can't treat people with respect? You think you're going to get respect back? Let me tell you something. When I was growing up, if I was to say something wrong to my parents, guess what? I was held accountable. You burned down a building, you set something on fire, whoever beat that poor store owner to death, guess what? You should be in jail right next to that idiot cop who did what he did. Next to those 4 cops who allowed to happen what happened. You should be in jail right next to them, facing the same thing. And even more, because of the fact, you know what? You were there and you beat this man when he walked out, and you knew it was wrong because you were standing up for somebody else who had their life taken way too soon. That wasn't causing any issues. Do you understand what I'm saying? So what I wanted to do, because I'm so upset with this, I am. Because guess what? In 2020, it's not about black or white. It's not about race. Isn't it time for this to be over? Because when I'm walking out, I don't see that. I handle everybody according to their energy. This is not going to stop until we collectively, as humans, together on this earth, as a universal people, decide not to speak the hate. Decide not to be, to a point. You're making it about it. Everybody's making it about it. It should be the fact that, you know what, it has nothing to do with that. It has to do with somebody that was there to protect us did something so wrong, took a life, brutalized. It doesn't matter who you are. I don't care if you're black. I don't care if you're white. I don't care if you're Asian. I don't care what you are. If this happens to somebody, those people should be held accountable. So we should be rising up as a people peacefully against the crime, against the injustice that he was done. Well, how can I answer that? There's a lot of things that go involved, and I'm not saying that he wasn't because of his color. I'm saying that what's happening is we're all making it about it. Where it should be, we're making it about where everybody should be able to live peacefully together. Do you understand what I'm saying? What is going on is our country is separating now and rising up in the wrong way. You know, Black lives matter, white lives matter, Asian lives matter, all lives matter. We all matter. Not one is any better than the other, and this is the problem. This is the huge problem. So what I'm having a problem with is not how people are protesting, because guess what? We should protest against this in peace. We should change. It's what is being done and how it's being done. Because let me tell you something. These people keep on... President Trump turned around and said, guess what? He's going to throw everybody in jail. You're going to have people that are getting killed. More and more people are going to die because of how they're responding to this. Okay, let me ask you a question, Killjoy. I understand what you're saying. I do. But are the only people being killed in the streets black? And I'm not talking about, because there was 13 cops in Philadelphia that they said were severely injured. There was a store owner who was beat to death. No, it's all lives matter, period. There's no difference whether you're black or white. We are the same. And if you're in the United States, guess what? The majority of us aren't from here. We're all immigrants when you really go down to our history, because now we're tracing our history and how we all got here. Because in different ways, we've all been persecuted in very different ways. Some ways more severely than others. But the problem is not that. It's all lives matters. And the death and the violence and the rioting has to stop. I am in a time where you are in a time, look at humanity and what's accepted now. You know what I'm saying? It's all of us are. I mean, my family came over from Italy. And guess what? We were called WAPs. We were treated poorly because what? Without papers. Can I ask you a question? I'm going to ask you a question. Do you have Killjoy, do you have a problem with black people? Do you? Because I know I don't. I know that they're my family. I know that they're universally connected to me. That we're all the same. We're all connected, whether people like it or not. So, I don't have a problem with it. Tambourine, do you have a problem with it? I want to know, anybody on here, does anybody have a problem with black people? Would anybody harm another person? This was an individual situation. This was a cop, somebody who is in power. Okay? Because I don't want to get into a discussion. It's the fact about, you know, all the injustices that have been done. I'm asking you this because you're saying it's directly, black people are killed in a high rate because they are black. But it's not blanketed. I don't have a problem with black people. I don't. They're my brothers and they're my sisters. Okay? You don't have a problem with them. Ron Fan doesn't have a problem with them. Tambourine, none of us have, and I'm not even saying them because that's even the wrong thing to say. Nobody has a problem with anybody else in a different color or a different race. You know, but let me tell you, so many people, there, depending on where you live and depending on what the type of people are there, you have Asians that are being killed in certain places. You have, I mean, look what happened with the coronavirus. Look what happened to innocent Asians that had nothing to do with it. Innocent Chinese people that were turned around and persecuted and beat up and things because everybody thought that they were part of the reason of why the flu came over here, or you know, that virus came over in here. Everybody needs somebody to blame, and it's wrong. What happened was this was an idiot cop. This was idiot cops who handled an individual and took their life when they had no right to, when they could have been handled without force. Because there are ways, because I have a lot of cops on here, there are ways that they actually handle them and are trained to handle them where they don't do this type of thing. Okay? And that's what the problem is. It was a human life. I don't care if you're black, I don't care if you're white, I don't care what the hell you are. You do not do this. And the only people causing racism, don't scream racism. Get away from racism. Sickening. A Chinese buffet was vandalized because of the virus. Get away from, everybody points blame on everybody else. Look at the situation that occurred and that this man's life was taken. Because guess what? Everybody would have an uprising because this man's life was taken. Whether you are black and you are white, we're standing together and saying this was wrong. We are going to speak out for this person whose life was taken. If we keep on screaming racism, you're going to make it about race. And then it's never going to get better. There's always going to be that situation. And I'm telling you right now, go back. History is repeating itself. And it's going to continue repeating itself over and over again. And still people can stop saying that word, that disgusting word. You know, and stop behaving in that manner. And they start unifying and We are a people. We are not separate. We're an American now. If you were born in America, guess what? You're American. You may have history and roots in other places, like mine's in Italy, but I'm an American. I was born here, which means everybody who was born here, you're right there with me. So guess what? That makes us one people. We're one people. The people that come in and take that test and turn around and become a citizen, we are one people, and we should rise to protect each other as one people and not force this separation where you're causing, because of color of skin, one people to rise up and cause all this damage and all this hate. There is too much hate. There is too much anger. And it needs to stop. It can't be about race anymore. It can't be. If you guys keep screaming race, it will always be around race. And guess what? My kids, they don't see the difference. They read people's energy. If you're a good person, if you're somebody who doesn't do nice things, because not inherently everybody has goodness in this. It doesn't matter. And the fact that people keep on screaming, stop. Martin Luther King didn't scream it. He just said what's happening to us is wrong. And he cited color, but said my white brothers and my black brothers. People need to go back and see how he walked in his truth and what he did. And the people that stood with him. Stop blaming all the cops for the action of 4. Let me tell you something. If my neighbor or my child does something that's so inherently wrong, I'm going to hold them accountable. It's not me who did it, though. I didn't raise them to be that way. I don't think that way, and my children never would. But guess what? I'm going to hold my own children accountable if they did something wrong. Say I love you, but guess what? This is not how we behave. I'm telling you guys, everybody, there has to be unity. Regardless of who's running our country, we have to come together as a people. Regardless of what happens, we have to be a people. There cannot be so hate. We have to effectively make change. If you don't like our president, guess what happens? There is an election coming. Do what's necessary to try to get the votes to get a new president in. Okay? The peaceful protesters, I'm looking, aren't being, everybody's afraid. Let me ask you a question. You have a peaceful protester did not burn down the courthouse in Nashville, that historic landmark. And there was also another, I can't remember what state it was in. There was another protest that started out with 500 people that was peaceful, that ended by the end of this March with 15,000 people. Not one injury, not one death, not one arrest. Because as a people in our constitutional rights, we can protest and we can walk. Okay? But you have a city that's burning. Your police officers are going to be afraid. They're putting curfews in, not because of Corona anymore, because they're afraid that people are going to loot and everything else. No, I'm not. And in other words, people don't know the difference. Oh, my son's calling me. Hold on. I have to decline him. Okay. So you're telling me that a peaceful protester burned down the courthouse in Nashville, and a peaceful protester were setting those buildings and businesses, small businesses. I didn't say they were. I didn't say that at all. I said that the violence has to stop. That everybody has to change their way of thinking. I'm saying that everybody has to remember Martin Luther King and when these travesties were happening. And it was so bad back then. It was worse back then. How he stood up and peacefully marched. Peacefully was bringing about change. And there were white and black people walking together. I'm not citing anything. I'm telling you that the people that are out there robbing stores and burning down businesses and beating innocent business owners to death and stealing, that is wrong. And a peaceful protester is not doing that. A peaceful protester is not setting cars on fire. And to be completely honest, Any peaceful protester, you have a right to march. I will march right along with you. Because it's what's right universally as a people and humanity. Okay? Now, the ones who are at burning down businesses, setting cars on fire, beating people, stealing people, putting my family's lives in danger if they're in the wrong place at the wrong time. Anybody, I don't care if you are white or black, you should be put in jail. That man that killed that poor protester. So I'm not coming in here going up against the protesting. I believe in peaceful protesting. I'm coming up here and speaking out against the violence that I'm seeing, and everybody holding for 4 police officers, holding every police officer accountable that actually treat people with kindness and take care of them. That's what I'm saying. Because not all black people, like everybody likes to say, are thieves. Not all police officers are bad and corrupt. I'm not talking about that. I'm saying that the violence has to stop. That what is going on, because I'm pulling up the news and that's what's out there. And it's breeding hatred and it's breeding fear. Just like they bred with the coronavirus. Fear. So I'm not understanding why you're misunderstanding what the point is. I'm saying that all the violence has to stop. That peaceful protesting is how it's supposed to be done. But there is a huge number of the citizens of the United States of America that are not protesting peacefully. That are out burning shit down and burning cities and blowing cars up and killing people. Because they're not handling it the proper way. And they're using this for something different. But the ones that are setting shit on fire, love, those are the ones that are turning around and pushing everything backwards. Because guess what? Everybody's focusing on the looting. Everybody's focusing on the violence. Everybody's focusing on the fires. And trying to get that under control. Oh, I know Martin Luther King. I know that. I know that. There was violent protests, but that man didn't believe in that. He didn't believe in violence. The whole world, the whole world is being set on fire now. Because they were doing things in the UK. Where is this getting us? Because everybody's focusing on that. Let me tell you something. Everybody matters. Every lives matter. Guess what? Black lives matter. White lives matter. Asian lives matter. You're telling me everybody doesn't matter? That there's not one better than the other, and everyone should be treated equally and with equal respect. Period. Period. And that's the way it is. There is police brutality, and it's not just against black people. It's not just against black people. Spanish people, Latinos, they get brutalized. Anywhere where there's racism, there are black people that are racist against white people. Come on. Everybody matters. Not one life is more valuable than another. We should be coming together as a people. Stop separating. We are a people. We all pay taxes. We all work together. Go to school together. I will break bread with anybody. And I will give them respect, and I expect that respect in return. I will protect their families, and I will protect their businesses, and I will stand up for their beliefs if it's inherently good and right and what is supposed to happen. And I will defend you with the fierceness like go over. I will protect you if you are protecting yourself. But I will never condone people going out and these horrible riots that are happening. Peace protesting, yes. But to go down and start burning down and beating people that didn't do anything to anybody else, you tell me how that's right and that's going to make anything better. All lives matter. White people don't experience institutional racism. This is why, because I could bring up... There's a lot of things that are done that people aren't even aware of. Do you know that there are, and it's bringing it on a lower form, but there are white children who get amazing grades who go to school, do everything they're supposed to, and should be getting into colleges, but they are passed over. And it's not because of their grades. It's because institutionally our country has made it so that, guess what? It doesn't matter how much work you necessarily do, but we have to put a certain amount of spots in our program for women. We have to put a certain amount in our program for people that are considered minorities. Okay? So it doesn't matter how hard anybody works when it comes down to it. I didn't say affirmative action is not racist against white people. I'm not talking about that. I am talking about the violence and the looting that is going on right now. And everybody grouping people. Stop. It's got to stop. Everybody has to matter. Everybody has to be able to stand together with this. And I can say whatever I want in references to the things that my kids weren't afforded, just so you know. Because guess what? We're lower middle class. And they fight just as hard. And they've been passed over for certain things because of things. Everybody should be created equal, period. Everybody should be. Everybody should be created equal. And that's the problem, because everybody is not created equal. That is our problem. What I am saying is, what is going on in the world with all of this violence, it's not going to make anything better. It's not going to change anything. It is making things worse. It is bringing the focus not on what happened to George Floyd, which was disgusting and horrible, and those people should be held accountable. It is bringing the focus now that because of that, and because people can't move in peace to try to effectively get a change and get this thing to be taken care of properly, are going out. You have your peaceful protesters and the ones that are destroying cities and towns and other people's lives. And that's not right, because that store owner who was beaten to death was just as important as George Floyd. Regardless of his race or his color, he was just as important. His life had the same amount of worth as George, which is priceless. You cannot bring that life back. So to take other people's lives is wrong. People have to stop making this about racism. They have to try to remove racism, period. And that's the truth. It has to be removed. People have to stop screaming black and white. People have to start saying, we are collectively a people that live together in this country. We are all Americans, and we do not accept any type of brutality for anybody. And that's the truth. Otherwise, this is going to keep happening, and history is going to keep on repeating itself, and people are going to keep on dying. Diversity. We are all connected. And that's what matters. And the violence has to stop. And the more buildings I see set on fire, the more people I see beat up, the more innocent people that are being affected by this, this is not what that man would have wanted. At all. His legacy should be peace being brought about and justice being brought about in the right way, where people together rise up and they march in unity, in peace, because violence, brutality is never an acceptable way of doing things. That's what the problem is. Hey, Ash. People have to change their thinking. They have to. They just have to. Everybody should be treated equally. Everybody should be benefited the same rights. Should have the same opportunities, which means do the work. And this is the way it should be in our country. Do the work, get the reward. Do all the work that is necessary. Be afforded the help that you need to achieve these goals, all in a positive manner. Nobody should just get a pass on anything. Nobody should. Everybody should be universally taking care of one another. Hey, Ash. But the only way we can change that is by speaking truth, by putting out there the positive energy, and by putting out there that this is a problem and it has to change. We're all the same people. We are all the same people. We are in this country. Our ancestors came from someplace else, but we're here, we're now, we're together. And brutality is never an option. Murder is never an option. Crime is never an option. And regardless what your race is, if you do something, you will be held accountable equally. But until people stop screaming that, enforcing separation, and start walking in peace, Martin Luther King said, "My white brothers and my black brothers." That's what he said. And that's what's important. So you guys can get mad at me all you want. You guys can get mad at me all you want. You know, I'll march beside any peaceful protest, but I will never accept, acknowledge, or condone any form of violence or murder on anything in the name of something else. I won't. I just can't, because it's wrong. But I don't see the difference between the two. I see people's energy, I don't see people's color. I see the work that people have done to struggle and rise from ashes, let's just put it that way, who've come from a place where they didn't have all of the, they weren't entitled, and fought to rise above and live a life of abundance and peace. And they were all different colors, it all wasn't just one color. We're all a people and we should be fighting together peacefully. We have to stop separating. White lives matter, black lives matter, you know, all lives matter. We all matter, and not one of us is better than the other. Not one of us should be entitled. We all should be doing this thing together and defending each other together and protecting each other together and fighting for one another regardless of your race, regardless of your color. Do no harm. Do no harm. Well, if that happens and those police, if they're uncovering shit like that, then what should happen to those police officers? Those police officers should be held liable and should be put up in a court of law with the rest of them. If you caused the problem, you should be arrested with the rest of them. Everybody has a choice. If I told you to jump off a bridge, would you jump off a bridge? Let's go back to what our parents taught us. No. If I told you to burn down a building in the name of something, would you go burn it down? Would you go beat somebody? I'm angry about that too, Mel. I am. I'm angry about the man that got beaten to death. I'm angry about the businesses that are being set on fire. I'm angry about historic courthouses. I'm angry about the good cops being hurt. I'm angry about the whole thing. If people came together as a people and all of these cities marched, there would be change together. But when buildings are being burnt down and people are being beaten, all they're worried about is stopping the fires and getting the anger and the violence under control. It is deterring what is matter. They're not focusing on the death of George Floyd and bringing justice for that. They're focusing on all the damage and all of the anger and violence that is a result of it. They're focusing on trying to get these things down and all of these other people that are protesting arrested and held accountable. So even the people that are marching peacefully, they aren't even being heard. The violent protests are overshadowing the peaceful ones. how can a message be heard when violence is happening and people are afraid to even go outside their doors of what might happen to them? How could the right message be heard? Violence under no circumstance is acceptable. Under no circumstance should this be happening. Because guess what? You're saying we black people, and I don't even see you as black. I see you as a wonderful being, an amazingly gifted being that has every opportunity in the world. Do you want to come on, Keith? Ooh, look at that. I don't know if you meant to. You don't have to click on it if you didn't mean to. Did you mean? Hey.
Hey, how you doing, Elena?
Good. How are you?
Hanging in there, trying to get through this whole pandemic and everything. And I heard what you were saying, and I couldn't agree with you more.
Go ahead.
Can you see me?
Yeah, I can see you.
Our internet's spotty here.
Yeah.
I couldn't agree with you more. People are focusing on the wrong shit. For lack of a better term.
They're placing blame instead of holding the right people accountable.
Exactly, and if anybody hasn't seen the video, or I don't know anybody who hasn't already. Disgusting, and it was just completely abhorrent would be the only word, and they should all be held accountable.
Yeah,
everyone there.
Absolutely. And innocent people, what upsets me is they keep on separating black and white lives. And I'm like, every life matters. We should be able to stand together as one country, as one nation, as one people, because the majority of us were all born here. This is our country that's doing this. Black, white, Asian, it doesn't matter where we come from, because none of us came from here. Very few came from here, should be fighting together. It shouldn't be pitting one against the other and doing it through violence. It should be all peaceful. And that's what frustrates me, is all the anger and all the violence, because it's taking the focus off what really mattered. And what happened here was that nobody should be brutally beat up like that and their life taken by anybody, let alone the people that are supposed to take care of us. I mean, that's what they did. And all four should be held accountable.
Alrighty, I won't keep you. I'll let you get back to your feed, kiddo. Great to see you.
Yep. You too. Thank you for weighing in.
Everything.
Absolutely.
No worries,
I got you.
kiddo. All right. Love you too.
All right.
Bye.
All right. Bye. Yeah, I see that. I don't understand how these people have no empathy. They're all going crazy. They're almost to the point of sniping each other as they walk out the doors. It's horrible. It is. I'm just saying, as a community, please, every single one of you on here, your life matters to me. Who you are matters to me. Your freedom matters to me. Your health matters to me. And for every single one of you, it should be the same. You should all care about each other in that same way. And you should all rise together to fight for what is right in a peaceful manner. That's what matters. That we change as a society, that we do come together. Because for as long as there is this separation, nothing is ever going to change. And history is going to keep on repeating itself over and over and over again. And that's just not right, guys. And that's what I'm saying has to change. Which I'm sure there's a whole bunch of people that are mad at me now. And I know I was going back and forth, because usually I try not to get politically involved. And I'm not taking a political stance on this at all. I'm taking the stance that, guess what? This is wrong. This brutality shouldn't happen. Those police officers, anybody, any human being, be a police officer or not, should be held accountable for their actions. You take a life, you should be drawn up and you should be held accountable, period. I don't care what it is, and I don't care who you are. Nobody should be under the law. Justice should be done for everybody, and we should be fighting that together as a nation. One nation under God. Everybody was supposed to be able to come here and create abundant and happy lives and be able to live together and fight for one another. But the only way we're ever going to remove racism is if we decide that we as a people of the United States, guess what? We're all one race. We're all together, regardless of where we're from. So Mel, does that mean if I was walking next to you, because I would defend you like nobody's business. I would fight for you. I adore you. I love you. I love who you are. I've worked with you. And you're black. I'm white. Does that mean if I walk next to you that my life doesn't matter? This is not about patriarchy. This is about humanity. It's about everybody accepting each other and valuing each other. And if you value me and I value you and I value Darlene and Zally and I value Tien and Tien is Asian and I value all of these other people and they all value me equally and we take care of each other and we fight for each other and we protect each other. Not one of you means any more than me. We're all the same. And we're all afforded that right. So that's what we have to be fighting against. There has been racism all over the world. And that's plain and simple. You had the Jewish people during World War II and what happened to them. You know, it's in history all over the place. And it's not just black people. It's white people. It's Jewish people. It's everybody has formed. I mean, and that the Holocaust was insane. Their lives didn't matter any more than mine did. They had a right to practice their religion and have their businesses. You have a right to practice your religion and your businesses and honor where you came from and who you are and stand up for that. If everybody would come together and say everybody's lives matter and you're all equal, then there wouldn't be that separation anymore. There cannot be a separation anymore. We all have to rise together as one people, as a society, and stop the separation. And that's what Martin Luther King was doing. He was fighting for civil rights because black lives mattered just as much as white lives matter. Just as much as Asian lives mattered. Everybody were one people. One energy. We are all connected regardless of where we hail from. That's what matters. We all matter. And to connect collectively on a human race, we all have to rise together. I understand. And I understand what you're saying. And I'm saying to me, you matter just as much as I do. And that there's a way to do this without causing so much destruction and making this bad. Because guess what? All they're saying... do you still, because I know people that grew up, you know, amidst all where it was really, when it was really bad, and I hear their stories. But I can honestly say that my children and what's going on, they don't have racism. They're not raised with it. They love people for their energy and who that they are. And they take care of each other, period. But I did not instill that in my children. I did not scream black. I did not scream white. I said, guess what? We're all connected. We're all one people. We're all energy. Look at people's energies and who they are as human beings, because that's what we are. But that's how I raised my babies. That's how I raised them. And I understand what you're saying. So black people have to feel like they're matter. So you have all this violence going on. So if you're going to separate it, you have a bunch of white people, a bunch of Asian people, a bunch of Hispanic people that feel like if they walk out their door in some of these cities that they're in danger. Because of these violent riots. Do you understand what I'm saying? what happened was wrong. Ultimately, what happened to George Floyd was wrong. And it doesn't matter what color you are. That was a heinous action. It was disgusting. It was horrible. That's what matters, is that doesn't happen again. Oh, it's not even that, but it's not about, the whole thing is why does it, I want people to change their thinking. If everybody starts thinking that we're one people, we are connected, and they rise together against the travesties that happen to all races, and we fight for one another, that's unity. There's not separation at that point. And that's not me being naive. And maybe it is me being naive, saying, what is wrong with everybody? Why is everybody burning shit down? Why is everybody fighting like they're fighting? What purpose is that serving? What are they bringing about? All I'm doing is looking and saying what happened was wrong. But that man getting beaten to death in front of his store, defending what he worked so hard for, that was wrong too. A business being burned down that employs all different races, that is wrong as well. Everybody is being affected, and the attention is being drawn away with the violent riots and the burning from what matters. This can be done peacefully, and we can all do it together. And that's for everybody being as one. Everybody trying to, the separation has to stop. And until people learn how to stop the separation, this is going to go on for eternity. Yeah, but you want to know something, Ken? I could tell you instances where that's happened to me as well. And I know you're hurting. Violent rioting is wrong. Would you ever, Kane, in all the pain that you're in, you would march peacefully and speak out. Oh, I'm not telling you not to be angry. I'm furious about it. I'm not telling you not to be angry at all. You should be angry. You should be furious. You should be furious that this man's life was taken. And you should stand up and fight for what you believe in. Whether it's however you put it, whatever wording you use, it was wrong. And I know you're not speaking of me. I know you're not. But Mel, I know for a fact you wouldn't go beat somebody up. And I know for a fact you wouldn't send a building on fire. And I know for a fact that you wouldn't loot other businesses and harm other people. Because you know, common sense speaking, that that's not going to change anything. It's just going to make everybody look bad upon you versus saying, okay. To help clean up the mess, exactly. And Kate, when you went down to clean up the mess, were you standing next to white people when you were doing this? Were you guys doing it together? Yeah, but the thing is let me tell you something. It's like the hillbilly thing, whatever versus the McCoys. You know, we have to see our way through and come to a common ground. Because if a white man right now is afraid that a black man is going to burn their business down, guess what? They're going to defend themselves, and all you're going to do is violence begets violence, anger begets anger. That's why Martin Luther said we will effectively make a change through peace, through marching as a people. And people came together with Martin Luther King, white and black alike. They walked together and did this thing. Everyone was down there cleaning together, white and black and Asian, just everybody as a community was cleaning up the mess that happened. That is how we should be cleaning up this mess, this travesty, together in unity, fighting for what was right, which is universally this human's life. Nobody has a right to have their life taken, and nobody's life is more valuable than another. The separation has got to stop. People have to start coming together in unity as a people. Guess what? Yeah, but it wasn't only white people that did that. No. It's not always white people that did that. And guess what? Change history. Because I know people currently now in this day, all different races, black, white, Asian, Latino, Arabs, everybody that rape and murder now. All races rape and murder. All races have good people who believe in what humanity is. Right now in the world today, all races are doing it. All races. It's not just one. It's not just one race that's doing this today. What about today? What about right now? And how do we stop it right now? That is the whole point. We're supposed to come together in unity and as a brotherhood, as a family. That is all I am saying, because what happened is wrong. But every single person to me, but you know the type of work I do, I don't see color. I see energy. I see people's hearts. Because guess what? When you do past lives, there are people who are white who were once black. Okay? There are people, men, that were once women. Your father could have been your child in another lifetime. The whole point is to get to the point where we all can go home. We have to, because all these people that are causing all this pain, guess what, have to come back and live the life all over again. Because if they did this murder, guess what, you can't evolve and go up. You can't. If you did harm, you have to rectify and make good on the wrongs you did. That is even what the UN was. And I think it's about all countries together, standing as one, fighting each other as one. Because the people are so angry and people are afraid and because people are wrong. I know that. And that's the whole thing. We have to come together. We have to rise out of fear. What do I tell you guys? You can't walk in fear. Look at all the destruction fear and anger causes. You have to take the bad that's happened and all of this anger and move forward out of fear and in faith to effectively make a change in this world. I'm not discounting anything. Thank you so much, Keith. I appreciate that. Yeah, Kane, that's easy. First of all, happy birthday, Kane. And actually, when you initially said that, I did. I guess you're getting ready to make a decision about something or you've been thinking about it. Follow through. Because I heard for you, happy birthday, Kane, follow through. And you've come so far. And it's so funny when I see your name and feel your energy right now because of that soul retrieval that we did together and being able to go at that journey and sit at that lunchroom table so long ago when you were speaking to your younger self. Our hearts are connected. We're linked, you know. Follow through. This year is going to be the best year of your life if you just follow through and allow it and help it to happen. So follow through, you're going to be good. Everybody's tired. That's why, it's so hard because I try to stay out of the religion thing. I try to stay out of all the political bullshit. Good. I'm glad. Hello, my little pink fairy. My Lexi's on right now. And my job here, I know it's hard, but you have to let go. You have to move forward because everything will work out fine for you if you do. So follow through. Follow through with the decisions and the realities because you've come to a lot of truths. If you just follow through on your decisions and what you know you need, you'll be good. And I believe in you and I have faith for you. And I know your heart. It's going to be a good year, but you have to let it be a good year. Stop arguing with yourself. Okay, that'll be cool, Kane. I'll look for it. But, my job here is to work with all you guys because you know what? If my work changes one life, helps one person find peace, helps one person move forward with the life they were meant for, helps one person heal, and then maybe that person will do that for somebody else. We're creating an echo here. If collectively as a soul family, we do what we need to do for ourselves while doing no harm. What is my rule? Follow your passion and your truth. Because if you do that, it works out for everybody else. But in the process, do no harm. Which means, you know what? If you got to make decisions and let go of people and things like that, you do it in a very specific way. Do no harm. Stand up. Fight for yourself. Follow your truth. Stand in your truth while doing no harm. If everybody just followed that rule, the world would be such a better place. So that's why, honestly, I really focus on trying to improve your lives and helping you heal on an individual basis. Because I know damn well no matter what I say right now, whether it's true or not, it's not going to stop all this anger in the world. It's not going to stop all this pain. It's not going to allow people to look at each other as their brother or their sister or being connected. But I know that in this little group with us together, hey Yellow Wolf, and us supporting each other and being there for each other regardless of our race, regardless of our gender, regardless if we choose to change our gender, regardless of what we do for a living. We keep each other safe here. We support each other. We help each other grow. And if we are of that state of mind, maybe you can effectively change somebody else's world and the energy that they put out. Kindness begets kindness. Anger begets anger. Violence begets violence. Change history. Change history and change the way the world looks at things. And it all starts with us. Be the change that you want to see in the world. If you would not want it done to you, do not do it to them. Just don't. It's all about kindness and about love. And that's why I had to come on, because it's so wrong, me seeing all of this, and it kills me. It hurts me. Being empathic in what I do, I can feel all the energy, and it hurts. Compassion, empathy, kindness. There are so many people, so many of us that give our lives for each other. And we do it the right way. We're not doing it the wrong way. So speak up and speak out and stand for what matters in peace and as a stronghold. Be that powerful force in between. Speak up for what is right. Speak up for justice and stand together. And you know what? Hold hands with the person next to you, whether they're white, whether they're black, whether they're Latino, whether they're Asian. It doesn't matter. If you're all standing for the same thing, we're unity. And the biggest problem with our country right now is we are not unified in any way. In any way. Just everybody's angry at each other, and that's got to stop. So I know a lot of you may be mad at me right now. I apologize for that. If you mistook whatever I said, it's just the reality. Universally, we're all together. We're all connected. We're all one. We all matter. Every last one of us. And we should fight and stand and protect for the ones that harms were done, for the lives that were taken. We should rise above. We should not become part of the problem. We should be part of curing the problem, part of making the difference. So I don't know if that makes sense to you guys. I really don't. I know you're frustrated with everything, and I know it's hard to talk to somebody like me because we're all connected. It's that easy. Think of the mind of a child that hasn't been affected by this yet. The way it didn't matter. We all used to play together, kind of thing. You know, think about the innocence, you know, and I know you might think that I'm naive in the way that I think, but I wish more people thought like me. Because I know you're frustrated, and I would hug you, and I would talk with you, and we would move forward together in bravery and without fear. And you and I would fight together for what was right. But we have 27 seconds left. I hope you guys have an amazing day, but this is something I needed to talk about because I just can't stand all the violence and all the anger, and there's a better way to do this. There's a better way to bring peace and justice. So you guys have an amazing day today, okay? All right, I'll talk with you soon. Bye.